because I like to start on time and end on time, which I know everybody laughs at because I used to run long always, but we don't do that anymore. So Brandy whipped me in line and said, no, running long, start on time, end on time. How is everybody anyway?
Good.
Love it. I love it. Well, let's see here. We've got a few people that I think are still coming that are missing this morning. So we're going to jump in without them though, and they can just get caught up. Hey, I want to start with a commercial or a preview. And Brandy, I know you're hearing this for the very first time, but I'm all in on Bold that starts in September. So I'm going to be our Bold rally guy from Southland. Um,
Yay.
One, because I stinking love the Bold experience. And I'm going to be pushing it really hard at the office because my winter absolutely stunk. My first quarter closings, I was so way off. I'm just now getting to where I'm almost back on track for my goal this year. And every time that I go to Bold in the fall, I start off the year really strong and I feel really good and my pipeline is really full. If you're not familiar with, is there anybody in here that's never heard of Bold or you're not familiar with what Bold is? Okay, perfect, perfect. Yep, yep. Okay. So Bold is a Keller Williams training program that is an acronym that stands for Business Objective, a Life by Design. And we have it about once a year, sometimes twice a year. However, our office always focuses on the fall experience for Bold. And I'm just going to give you a quick commercial for it. It is mindset training, yes. And I know I'm really, really big on mindset training, mainly because I need it all the time. But second, I believe in it so much. And I know that it's a lot more practical sometimes to go to the classes where we learn technical skills. However, what usually separates the pros from the amateurs is mindset and the belief in what we're doing and why we're doing it and identifying what's our purpose and what's our goal and just having clarity of thought. And Bold is about 50% mindset training and the rest of it's lead gen. How we lead gen consecutively, how we do a great job with lead gen, how to make lead gen not transactional and make it more relationship based. And if you talk to the greatest of the agents in Keller Williams, most of them, they just get into really good relationships, yet they're strategic and they have a plan when it comes to follow up and those relationship managements. And Bold just simply takes the tips and tricks from the best of the best and puts it into a 6-week class. And we go once a week for 6 weeks and we get to network with other KW agents at other offices. I think this time it's going to be us and 4 other KW offices. So there's going to be 5 market centers and you get to meet some of the agents that you do business with. And you'll go show a listing and you'll be like, oh, I remember them. They were in my Bold group, or I remember them sharing at Bold. And it really makes for a powerful experience. I'm in the middle of a co-op right now with a listing agent out of Olathe. Her name's Jennifer Carr. And this is like my 3rd time working with Jennifer, and she's a pro. I mean, she really dots all of her I's and crosses all of her T's. And she's a friend now. Like we've had a lot of great conversations, and it simply became I met her at Bold one time, and then we've done some deals together. And it's like it doesn't feel like I'm doing business with a stranger. It feels like I'm doing business with a Southlander. I mean, it's really cool, and I attribute a lot of that to Bold because they have us connect with other agents at other KW offices. So anyway, I say all that to say Bold is coming right up. First step of Bold is September 24th. So it's literally just barely over a month away. There is a fee for Bold. It's going to be just a little over $100 a week. So it's going to be just shy of $800. And I would say that it's probably the best $800 that you could spend on your business this year. And it's going to set you up to have an incredible winter. And winter is when we get the headwinds a little bit. People slow down a little bit in the winter just because of the holidays and because of bad weather and saving money and things like that. So we really have to drive hard to be successful through the winter. And our office has consistently shown that we're really good at that we're really good at holding our chin up in the winter months. And a lot of that is because we have such a great turnout for Bold in the fall. So anyway, it's going to be a blast. I've already started talking to some vendors yesterday about some breakfast experiences, and I need to get with Brandy on some of those details, but I'm going to be championing it a lot in the office just because it's paramount for me. Yes, for business, but also mindset, and all of the strategies that we learn in business, they translate to life, to sports, to church, to any of the organizations you're a part of. You're going to learn some real winning mindsets there, and it's just a blast connecting with the other offices. So, okay, enough about Bold. I'm going to hit you on it probably once a week until go time. However, if you've not done it, I suggest jumping in. If you have done it before, I think this is going to be my 12th or 13th time through Bold, and I learned something new every time. No man stays jumps in the same river twice. The man is always changing, and so is the river, and that's the Bold experience for me. So anyway, I'm super pumped about it. I'm excited that it's a little bit earlier in the fall this year. It'll make winter awesome. So, hey, first off, any issues or anything that's on fire that we need to address right now, or any emergency situations that people are like, I need help, and that's why you jumped on the call this morning? Let's knock that out first. No, nothing's on fire. Yay! All right, that's awesome. Okay, well then good. Want to talk about a couple of contract items that I've seen out there. I've had a really nice conversation with our amazing broker, Darren, on it. Have you guys had this situation where you're representing a buyer, you write up your offer? Actually, you could represent either side. Here's the scenario. An offer comes in, and our commission is now written on the sales contract form. Yes. We put a dollar amount in, right? Now, however we explain that to our buyers, maybe I'm working for 3% of the gross sale price, or 3.5%, or I know Tony Darty, he works at like a 4.5 or 5% buyer agency commission. So whatever your percentage is that you work out with your client, when push comes to shove, everything's negotiable, and we put it in the contract now. Remember, we didn't used to do that. And it was all negotiated in advance. Now there's a dollar amount that we write in on the contract. However, if there's a counter offer and you make an adjustment to price, there's not a specific line item there for your commission. Has anybody seen that or ran into that where a counter offer comes back, we adjust the sale price, but there's nowhere written in there where we're specifically adjusting the sale price? So had a situation where we got into a debate, a professional debate with the party on the other side of our transaction, where, hey, if I've said that I'm going to make 3% of the gross sale price on my buyer agency agreement, and I write 3% of whatever my sale price is, and then in the counteroffer, we reduce the sale price, technically now I'm collecting more than the 3% that was on my buyer agency agreement, right? So technically, in order to stay compliant, I would either need to change the percentage on my buyer agency agreement, or I need to reduce the dollar amount of commission to equate to 3% of my new sale price. Is everybody tracking, or am I making this way more confusing? Okay. So technically, it's my responsibility as the buyer agent to make sure that I'm either adjusting my gross commission or I'm adjusting my sale price so that I don't have a compliance issue there with MREC or KREC. So the counteroffer form does not currently have that on there. And in my conversation with Darren, we basically decided that we're just going to write it in as one of the additional terms on the counteroffer. So it's going to be a price. There's also a paragraph there. We just simply wrote a line item in there with what that new commission price is going to be. And let me see, I don't know if this is helpful for anyone at all. This may be way above my skill level here. I'm going to try and pull it up and just screen share it with you, so that you could see kind of what that looks like, or how we wrote it up, if that's even helpful for anyone. If it's not helpful, then I won't waste the time. But I think that I can screen share here and pull this guy up. Let me see if that works. Jake, I know you raised your hand that you had ran into that. How did that go with you guys? Was that an easy debate, or how did you address that situation?
So it was actually it was in the fall, whenever it first kind of, when they adjusted all the rules and stuff. I
Yeah,
didn't even really think about it. And then I sent the counter over. I'm like, oh crap, I'm working for 2.85% on this deal. And so it just cost me a part of my commission. So then I never, and then, so now on the counters, instead of having the sellers counter me, I said, no, 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 I'll just write up the counter. I'll do it myself. So,
gotcha.
and so
Okay.
then I just redo the contract, get those signed. That way I know that it's in there
Yep.
versus it. But and then I see it all the time on the seller side where they will adjust their offer and they won't write their new ones or whatever. And I don't know if I should tell them or not, but it usually saves my sellers a couple $100.
It's that's just
Kind
it. It's typically only a few $100, at least when
of,
it in comparison to what our average sale price is in the market center. But it's a few $100 is a few $100. And even more so, I know Darren's listening in. I'm not sure if he's available. I would say even more so from Darren's perspective is we just want to make sure that we're in compliance
hmm.
and that we don't, that we're not misstating something or misrepresenting something to our clients since they are the general public here. I don't seem to be able to screen share here. So anyway, what
Are you trying to pull up?
well,
Oh,
I was going to show that resolution and just like how we wrote that in, but that's okay. I'll post it on the Facebook page as soon as the call's over. How's that? And that way, if anybody needs to see it or look at it, it's nothing fancy at all. Literally, we just wrote in that very first, like in line 22 through 32, seller agrees to correct the following unacceptable conditions. And we just wrote in there buyer's agent broker concession to be 3% of the purchase price, which is now $12,900 instead of $13,150 or whatever that dollar amount was. So should be a pretty simple thing. However, I think we've ran into it several times now where the question has come up. So just as Jake said, make sure that you don't lose out on some dollars there for your client or for yourself also. So we want to make sure that we track that.
Hey,
Anybody?
Tim,
Sorry. Go ahead,
I've got,
Brandy.
I have a question about that. Not necessarily about the commission. I think you and Jake just kind of spoke to that, but about I would love to hear what y'all's thought is on a counter offer. I don't like them. I don't like them as much because I feel like they're messy because we have a base contract. Yeah. Happy birthday, Nate, and others. I don't know who just did that. That's pretty cool. That the birthday, I don't know, in the chat box, I just saw a bunch of birthday cakes flying down. I think maybe Lonnie did that. Good job, Lonnie.
He did not.
Lonnie's very technologically advanced. It's
I
definitely
think I
him.
did on
He's a
accident.
techie.
Yes.
Well, let's
On
try this.
accident.
I'm trying to say here. Let's see if I do it. There we go. When you say happy birthday, the birthday cakes fly through the chat box. That's really cool. So you did do it, Lonnie. Back to the counter offers. Would love to hear what you think. I think they're messy. This is my personal opinion. We've got this base. We have the, there we go. There we go. Already in the chat box. But you've got this contract or the offer that isn't officially, because we're still negotiating and now there's a counter. If I'm a buyer's agent, I would rather just write up, if we're countering and going back and forth, instead of doing an actual counter offer, I would almost rather just rewrite up the base contract depending on what we decided in our verbal negotiations. What do y'all think about that?
I 100% agree with that, Brandy. That's definitely my first go-to, especially if I'm the listing agent on it. I hate having to rely on the other side. And what I mean by that is if I represent the seller, somebody sends me an offer, and now I'm going to counter offer back. My people have signed the original offer with the exception of the acceptance form on page 16. And we've checked the box that said signatures not required, see counter offer. And then we present a counter offer that we then sign. Now I send it back to the buyers, and now it's in their court and I have to wait on them to sign. And I've had this happen where it's a Friday evening I send them the counter offer and then they don't sign it till noon the next day. And my people are on pins and needles wondering if we're actually going to get under contract. Meanwhile, we've got another offer that's come in. Like, I like to be in control of when that contract gets executed. And that's the main reason why I prefer it that way. But that's if I'm on the sell side.
Well, I prefer it on the buy side too, because I would rather get it all in one nice, clean contract, not like, hey, we started here, but we changed these things. So, and then we got to remember, did we amend this or did this stay the same? If the other agent, if the co-op agent's on board, I would rather just go back and rewrite the base contract, because all parties have to sign it anyway. Why don't we just clean it up and make it as clean as possible? That's what I think.
I totally agree with that. And I might have misspoke. I might have said the wrong document. The situation that I was actually talking about was the resolution. So on the resolution, we're already under contract, but then during the inspection period. So if I misspoke earlier, I apologize, you guys.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about a counter offer, because I was like, I thought the commission's on the counter offer.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I meant the resolution of unacceptable conditions. So when the resolution came back, we made an adjustment to price, and there's not a commission on the resolution form. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Gotcha. That makes
said the
sense.
wrong document name.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, my fault on that.
Rookie. Something to think about on counter offers. Not all counters are the same. If I'm doing a deal and, we basically are in agreement on everything except for, hey, we'll take that, but we need the closing date to be this. The counter's pretty simple. You're just changing one thing. But when you're changing the date and possession and the price and the commission, boy, it's just so much cleaner. I think Stephanie or somebody posted, they typically lean towards just doing it all over again. And I think that would be my lean as well, especially when there's a lot of moving parts.
There you go, Tim. We're seeing your screen now.
Look at me. I got to figure it out. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, you guys. I did say counter offer, and I totally meant the resolution. So I'm so sorry. So here's what I was actually speaking to was on the resolution. What we did was we didn't ask for anything to be changed. I represented the buyer in this situation. All we were going to do was we adjusted the sale price and we adjusted the buyer, the credits, the seller concession. However, when you adjust the sale price, then there's nothing on here for that change in commission. So we simply also checked the box correction of unacceptable conditions, and we just wrote it in on the box. Now, another way to handle that would be to also write it on an amendment. However, now you've got another document. And I think that's a big part of what Brandy was speaking to earlier when it comes to the counter offer is let's just keep it clean. I don't want to write a bunch of amendments if I don't have to. So putting it on the resolution handled it. It was in black and white, and people were able to sign off on it that way. Yeah, forgive me. I made that way more complicated by using the wrong document name. Got it. My brain sometimes doesn't run as fast as everything else. So, okay, does that make a little bit more sense now? Sorry about that. People were correcting me. Thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that.
But would it be covered under lines 40 through 44 or whatever on the amount of the seller paid closing costs?
I'm not 100% sure I understand the context there. Seller agrees to pay additional buyer's closing costs and or prepaid expenses as permitted by buyer's lender of blank amount of dollars plus any amounts previously agreed for a total amount not to exceed. The total amount set forth herein does not include or otherwise modify the compensation seller previously agreed to pay broker assisting buyer. So I think with that line, we still had to address it somewhere else in the contract. Yeah. And maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill and everybody else is like, that's not even a big deal. We just handle it real quick and move on. But because in my co-op with another agent at another brokerage, it became a big deal and it was a really big deal to them. And I'm like, oh, we'll just put it on. We'll just write it on here. And not everybody's broker is present and available like ours is. And so a lot of other brokerages, the agents run into questions and they don't get a clear-cut answer. And then they're a little bit confused. I mean, our broker, Darren, shows up to team meeting pretty much every Tuesday, and we've got a broker moment, and he addresses a lot of this stuff. So sometimes things seem really cut and dry and simple to us. And yet other offices, their broker doesn't have a broker moment on a weekly opportunity, or it's once a month, or they have a struggle, they struggle to get answers. I feel like our office, we've always been poised to kind of head things off and jump ahead of the curve. Even when we had the NAR ruling change, we were talking about it well in advance of when it showed up. And then sometimes, even now, I'll get into a conversation with another agent and they're freaking out over the buyer agency agreement, or, getting in and showing a house. And I'm like, man, we're a year into this thing now. Like, why is this brand new to you? But just, again, not everybody has the conversations and the resources like we do. So anyway, thanks for correcting me on that, you guys. I appreciate that. Darren did too. Commissions on the counter. You got any thoughts on that, Darren? Any changes to that, or are you good with that? That was based on our conversation when I called you here about a month ago.
Yeah, I think you covered it all pretty good.
Okay.
I hope KCRAR is going to make some common sense changes on the forms this year, and I don't know if they're able. So on the original offer where we have to put in a dollar amount, I don't know if the settlement keeps us from being able to put a percent there. It would sure be simple if we could just put that it's 3% of the final sale price. But at this point, it's just complicated, and we'll have to work a little bit harder to make our money.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, to Jake's example, he ended up making a 2.8 or 2.875 instead of 3%. And is it the end of the world? No, I mean, he's not sleeping on my couch yet. He's still in his house. However, it cost him a few $100, right? I mean, it was his cell phone bill for the month, or his car payment, or, his office bill times 2 or 3 months. Or, I mean, that's a big deal when we're talking about it. We work so hard to defend our commission. Let's not give it up over a technical error that we just didn't see. We didn't see that in the numbers. Yeah, there you go, Trisha. It's not a big deal financially, but it definitely shows our integrity to the process and builds trust. Yeah, with our clients, with the other agents. I think it goes a long way for sure. Yeah, very good on that. All right, enough on that one. Kick that one to the curb. All right, lead gen. Had a couple of interesting lead gen things pop up over the last probably few weeks. I really enjoy going to networking events. I think that's natural for me. It's kind of in my wheelhouse. I like to meet people. I like to have conversations. Some people get bent out of shape over like superficial conversations, but sometimes like that's how you weed through, right? Like when you go to networking events, there's a lot of just superficial conversations at the beginning. And then I feel like I'll find somebody that's worth connecting with, or like, yeah, we should grab coffee, or shoot them a follow-up email or anything. Anybody doing any lead gen right now that's new for you or that's different? Are you anybody trying anything new, or are you pretty much sticking to what you're good at? And if so, what are you good at? I'd love to hear what some of your go-to lead gen strategies are. Nobody does any lead gen. Cool. Okay. Well, that's great.
Who has done that thing that Brandy has that tells you your strengths and weaknesses as far as that? I know my mom did that and it printed out a cool report. Has anybody else done that?
Wait, what was that? What did I miss?
Thanks, Jake. I don't even know if anybody else really knows about it, but I have a lead gen, like I have a way to, if you'll take the KPA, which I can send to you pretty quickly, take the KPA, and then based on your KPA, which is your Keller personality assessment, based on your individual unique personality, I can tell you what your lead gen strategies, like the strengths would be, like your top 5 lead gen strategies that you could really focus on, and maybe even your bottom 3 that you might want to stay away from. So If you want to do that, you get with me and let's get a schedule. I'll send you the KPA and we'll go through that and talk about your lead gen strategies built best for your personality. So
I thought it was super helpful. She did that with me, and being new, you know, everything I've watched and all the videos and things leading up to when I started full time, it was a lot of strategies that turned out not to be my strengths. And intuitively, I agreed, it made perfect sense. It was just very validating because I would have what's out there, because what's out there are techniques that other people can package and sell. Like, this is how to do this door knocking, this is how to do whatever. But there's not you know, it's much harder for me to package and sell something to you based on your specific personality or whatever. So it was illuminating and validating, because then it helped me to focus on, and it helped Jake to know how to mentor me. Notice I called him Jake, how to mentor me. As far as what I should focus on. So I thought I love those. I've done a million personality tests over the years of my careers, but it was I thought it was very good, very specific and very validating, and gave me good direction.
Good feedback.
jump on my calendar. Let's get yours done too. We should all be meeting with me, and if nothing else, it's a refresh for what your lead gen strategies are. And maybe chances are you're probably already gravitated to the ones that work really well for you. But to me, they also validate why you don't like other ones. Because Tim, you love door knocking. Most people don't love it, but they think they're failing because they're not out door knocking. Well,
Right.
what my little printout readout is showing, a lot of people aren't wired for door knocking, and they're like, oh, okay, good, because I hate it. Is what they say. So it's kind of validating to go, okay, that's why I like these and I don't like those. Because what do? We sit in these classes and they say 82 ways to lead generate. And then you find out, okay, you just get intimidated and overwhelmed that I should be doing all 82 ways. No, we don't have to do 82 ways. Let's find a couple ways. And so I'm happy to help point you in that right direction if you want to.
That's really cool feedback. I'm glad that you did that, Stacy. That's awesome. I think it is definitely, it's helpful to identify the zones and identify what's the best use of your time. I think that's where I typically get caught up in. I'm doing something that it's not really a great use of my time, just because I'm not in my wheelhouse. I went so I went to a networking event that I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun and I met a lot of great people. And it was an eye opener for me, because I was like, man, I don't really go to a lot of networking events. And this one, it was in the Northland, but it was a professionals in aging networking event. And it was really cool. There was a lot of businesses out there that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like, oh man, if I knew these guys existed, I had 4 different opportunities to refer clients to them, but I just didn't even know that they were out there. So mainly for me, it was a learning experience. It was, the networking event, yes. However, being able to be that go-to for my clients is a great way to generate leads. I have one client in specific who he really just asked me for himself. But he'll be like, hey, I got a roofing leak. Who do I call? Hey, I need the inside of my house repainted. Who do I call? Who's your guy? And he always goes with somebody that I connect him with. But what if he was like, hey, my neighbor needs this. Who do we go to? Or, hey, I want to connect you with somebody else. If I teach him how to treat me, maybe he starts making some of those connections with his neighbors and his sphere and his database. And then that's how really the networking web grows. And I just had not really capitalized on it before. So Lonnie put in there, master a couple of ways, not all. And that's a 100,000% the key to success. Those of you guys that went to family reunion this year, one of the breakout sessions that I went to, let me see. I wonder if I can share this with you. How do I make this? Let me see if I can make this full screen somehow. I'm trying to be better with tech here, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. It was Lead Gen Hacks. Did anybody go to that was at Mega Camp? Did anybody go to the Lead Gen Hacks one? It was Jason Abrams and Cody Gibson, and both of those guys are exceptional presenters, and they're funny and they're banter, and they were like dogging on each other and making fun of each other. And so it was really wildly entertaining. Like, it was so much fun. And they went through like 30 lead gen hacks in 60 minutes. So it was a 1 hour breakout session, and they spent 2 minutes on each lead gen hack. And basically what they did was they grabbed somebody that had an interesting lead gen methodology or something that they were wildly successful at, and they had them share. So, like, for example, one agent lived in a big neighborhood. Like, there was 400 or 500 homes in their neighborhood. And maybe that's not big for you. I only have 120 homes in my subdivision. So a 400 or 500 home subdivision feels big to me. And what they were finding was, like, people needed a tool or they needed a lawn care item, but they didn't necessarily want to go out and buy it. So they put on their HOA page, like, hey, who has a power rake that I could borrow for the weekend? And somebody would respond to it. And so this agent saw, like, wow, there's a real need here for this. And so the agent just started buying stuff, and they would post out there, this is what we have available, and it's available for a 24-hour checkout free of charge. So they were seeing repetitive things, like after a storm, people needed a chainsaw so that they could cut up downed limbs and things. And they were wanting to borrow a chainsaw, and somebody either didn't have one, or they did, or they couldn't make it happen. So the agent just started buying things that he was seeing that his neighbors needed. And he became basically almost like a little equipment rental shop for his neighborhood. And then that expanded into, like, somebody wanted an inflatable for a birthday party. And so he was like, let's just buy an inflatable. So they bought like a big bounce house, and that was available. And basically he became the go-to for his neighborhood, that whenever somebody needed something, they were reaching out to him, and he was basically just loaning it to them free of charge for a set amount of time. And in return, all he asked for was, I'd love to be connected with your friends and family if they have a need for real estate. And he was very direct and open about it. He wasn't beat around the bush. It wasn't trying to, like, covertly get referrals. They literally said, like, the purpose of this is we want to be your go-to person, and we want you to connect all of your real estate referrals to us. And that's their main source of lead gen. And it got to the point where, like, he bought stuff that was so big, like the bounce house, that he ended up having to rent a storage facility right by his neighborhood. And then they would even have, like, days where you could just come up on a Saturday, and he would have somebody on his team manning the storage facility for people to check stuff out and bring stuff back. And that was their main source of lead gen. And it was super unique. I'd never really heard of anybody doing that before. They expanded. By the end, I think they had, like, margarita machines and, like, whatever you might need for your party or for your house. They had it. And so just finding what is in your zone, what is comfortable for you. I do like to door knock, but that's only just because I like to be outside and I don't like to be at my desk. And it's a way that I can, like, cheat and say that I'm lead genning. I'm knocking on doors and inviting people to an open house or handing out a just sold thing. Is it the most effective use of my time? Probably not when it comes to lead gen. But it's better than me not doing lead gen. And I'm getting exercise at the same time, and I'm outside, and sometimes I have a lot of success at it. Sometimes I don't. So that's why I do it consistently, just because it's the law of averages. Look up Amy Stockburger Real Estate to see this on a high level. Cool. Thank you, Paul. I assume that's somebody that you know through coaching or through an example or something like that.
Yeah, she's taught led some discussions at a Tom Ferry thing. She's got the largest real estate team in South Dakota, the most successful one. And I think she's usually in the top 20 across the country. And she's got she's also second generation agent, but she's got storage units clients can have for 30 days while they're doing it for free during transactions. And she also rents out anything you can imagine for free, but only to clients and past clients. So what you do will do with her forever. You can rent stuff. But the key is every chair, table, tent has Amy Stockburger Real Estate on it. And
you know exactly where it came from.
And she won. Her systems she has in place are incredible. She's got basically her own chamber of about 125 businesses, from hair salons to bat removal people, plumbers, and everyone else. And she charges them $3,500 a year to be part of her special preferred vendor group. And the whole concept is, she says, we're marketing professionals. If you want to learn how to market your business better, join forces with us and we'll help you market at a high level. And she sells these systems to other agents. They're licensed trademark systems, and she'll even have a VA to help set it up. But she has a full-time employee that's her relationship builder or whatever, almost like a chamber president who keeps those relationships going with all those businesses. It's incredible. She also does the moving trucks, where you get the moving truck for free by having other people pay for advertising on it, and just all kinds of amazing high-level stuff that I don't know. She's pretty amazing with her business. You might take a look at her sometime.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for that name. I will check that out. That's cool to see somebody succeeding at a high level. That's, Gene Rivers, if you've ever seen or listened to him speak, he's a legend in the KW family. Gene's that way. Like, get good at something. Like, don't do 47 things, and as in Gene's vernacular, don't do 47 things half-assed. Do one thing and do it really awesome, and double down on it. Gene loves bold 100s. Gene is like a huge fan of bold 100s, which is making 100 contacts in one day. And Gene's also a maps coach, or he was. I don't know if he still is, but Gene would say things like, if you, that's funny, Jake. Gene would say, if we're having a call and you're not on track for your goals, he's going to say, have you made 100 contacts today? And if the answer is no, there's nothing to talk about. Go do 100 contacts. That's where Gene's at with lead gen. Like, lead gen is everything in the business. And if you haven't done it yet, go make 100 contacts. And if you're like me, I'm like, I don't even know if I could make 100 calls today. You can. I don't even know if I could touch base with 100 people today. Yep, you totally can. If the desire's there, if your will's strong enough, you 1000% can. And again, go into bold, you'll see people do bold 100s, and they usually pull them up in front of the class and they're like, okay, tell us what you did. And I remember one bold, there was a lady went to like the Royals game, and there was a bunch of people tailgating in the parking lot. She just started walking through the parking lot and touching base with people, handing out her business card. And I don't know what all she did to make contacts, but maybe you make 100 contacts and you only end up with one good lead. Great. It's one good lead that you didn't have before. So I love that, Paul. That's a cool strategy. I love having our names on things. I love getting out in front of people. Again, the biggest problem, and they talk about it in bold, is most of us are secret agents, and we don't want to be a secret agent. We're not 007. We don't want to be secret agents, but most of us are. Outside of a few people in our sphere, most people don't even know who we are. They don't even know we exist, because we're not on billboards other than Jessie Brown. I see her out there all the time, but you know what I'm saying? Our face isn't on billboards. We're not putting TV commercials out there. Most of us aren't doing radio advertising. We're not doing marketing at a high level. We're very prospecting based business, and yet we can't be a secret agent. People have to know about us. Otherwise, it's going to be tough for us to do business if they don't even know we exist. So find what is your niche, find what you will do consistently, and jump out there and do it. So,
Tim.
Yeah, go ahead, Tricia.
This was probably one of the transitions I had to really learn to make. The very first day I ever sat down with Lonnie, and I'm like, hey, I'm interviewing KW Southland. And he even explained to me then about my mindset of who I had not shared that I was actually a realtor with. And so I think that's been the biggest mindset that I've had coming into KW, was that mind shift of letting people know. And it's okay to let people know. It doesn't mean I'm trying to sell them something immediately. I'm just sharing a part of who I am. And it's if I'm a whole pie, that's just a piece of who I am. And I want to share that part with you as well. And that has been my focus, is just trying to let people know who I am and what I do. And just this week, I was helping a client sell some stuff out of her house. And the people who picked up her dresser, I got approved with lending today. So you just never know when you let people know who you are, what's going to happen. So that's my latest lead gen, Facebook Marketplace.
That's awesome. That Trisha, you do, you're so disarming as a, as a personality anyway. Like, I don't think you're going to come across too pushy. I don't think you're going to come across defensive in any way. Like, let everybody know. Like, you're crushing it, by the way. Congratulations. You're doing it at a very high level. You've embraced it well. Good job.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah, you're doing it. One thing that you've actually really inspired me in an area is that you have not been bashful at all about recommending Anthony and bringing him into the mix and bringing your family into the mix. And when I very first started at KW, I was transitioning from running an electrical business. And I was really, really cautious about not mixing the two database. Like, I didn't want to be the jack of all trades, master of none. And so I was really trying to compartmentalize and like, okay, these people I'm going to market real estate to, and these people I'm going to market to, my electrical clients. And really it's one big service industry. And I'm the ringleader of my services. And I read this book. If you haven't read it, it's called Finding My Virginity. And it's a book written, I can't remember if it's written by Richard Branson. I think that it is, or it's written about him. I can't remember. And I've read it twice. And Richard Branson obviously is wildly successful in business. And he has a bunch of different businesses. I mean, he's in so many different industries, but the thing that's consistent is his pursuit of excellence in all of his businesses. He's basically taken one business system and applied it to a bunch of different industries, and they all make people feel good. They make people feel like they're having a red carpet exceptional experience. And he finds commonality in all of them, right? Like, he's got a hotel brand. He's got a high-speed train brand. He's now got Virgin Voyages. He's got airlines. He's got vacation clubs. Like, they seem in record labels, right? Like, they seem unrelated, and yet they're all services to people. And it's about making people enjoy an experience at the really highest level. And all he's done is he's taken his brand and he's just boilerplated it and applied it to different industries. And I'm just now starting to do that, Trisha. I'm just now starting to feel like, okay, well, perfect, Brandy. Thank you so much. I'm just now starting to go, man, I need to send all of my marketing for real estate to my Page Electric clients, because they all have real estate needs at some point. And I just didn't want to feel like, man, I'm trying to grasp everything. I'm not. I'm really only even halfway decent at two things. So I might as well like toot my own horn on those two things, because I'm not trying to do 47 things. I've got two things going. And those two things I can do well if I focus. But I always had this like I'm just going to call it a limiting belief around being able to do that. Yet you've shown like you can bring Anthony into the mix. You can hire your kids to do trash haul off and clean out and deck tear down. And as long as you're upfront and saying where the work's coming from and who's doing it, most people get excited about that and they rally behind you and they want to see you be successful, especially if they're going to benefit from them. And you give them economy of scale. You've become the easy button for a lot of your clients. They don't have to try and call 47 different people. They just call Trisha, and Trisha's got connections everywhere. She's going to handle it. People want that. People are so busy now. They don't have time to make 47 vendor calls and get 3 quotes on all of them. Just who do you use, Paul? Okay, great. And that's perfect. And send me your person. And if it's remotely close to the budget they had in mind, they usually go with it because it's a trusted connection. So anyway, congratulations, Trisha. You're doing this at a high level. It's pretty awesome to watch. Yeah. Proud to be in business with you. All right. What's next? It's 10:45. Oh yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great. Any lead gen roadblocks? Has anybody come up against anything that is paralyzing for you? calling your database, the people that you actually know. That's my roadblock.
I think
I'm like, I'd rather call strangers than people that I see every day. Go ahead, Lonnie. Sorry.
I think, we've got to master one or two things. And, our office is a great example of people doing things differently, but doing them well. Paul's great at video. By the way, he wasn't great at first, and he's getting better and better. And now he does it at a high level. And then you have other people that are great with Chris Bradley, I think, is on here. She does handwritten notes to people. There's a lot of different ways to skin this cat, but we've got to commit to a couple things and do them really well. I'm more of a database driven guy, conversations, text, emails, and just pounding those VIP people. That's what's worked well for me. Early in my career, it was all open houses. So, it can change over time. It can evolve a little bit. If you don't have a database, at the end of the day, and you don't know a lot of people, you probably don't want to, you're going to have to develop a database, and being out there with the public at open houses and putting yourself out there is going to be critical. But we got to do something. We got to have some plan. This is what I'm going to do. Otherwise, the real estate business just becomes an unknown. From month to month, quarter to quarter, it's like, is business going to come to me? And, I've talked about it a million times. If we have 200 people in that triangle, the people in the bottom half of the triangle, honestly, if we're being honest, we don't have that good a relationship with them. And that's on us, because that relationship can be developed over time if we just are intentional and work on it. And then all of a sudden the touches and the phone calls and all of that become easy. And as that gets easier, the probability of being referred or them using you to do business grows immensely. And all of a sudden that bottom half of the triangle becomes very valuable versus having a low probability of ever being referred or asked, a given business.
That's fantastic. Yep. Chris said, yep, I still do it to this day. I share this all the time. I got a handwritten note, thank you card from Chris Bradley. Before I was even an agent, like I was like, man, this gal's doing it. And then she had me on her newsletter, and I was getting regular connections from her. And some of my best friends at the time, one of my very best friends was an agent. But if you asked me like what agent was giving me the most value, it was Chris Bradley, because she was sending me stuff regularly. And one of them was a handwritten note, so that I knew that she personally took the time. I felt seen, right? I felt seen. Lonnie, one of the things, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. I was going to, but back to what you guys were talking about. One of the things I still try to do to this day is I just want to be the resource for like people to call if you need an electrician, or people to call if you need a roofer, or people, if you need a couple names, kind of, because that's a lot of work for people. You were speaking to that earlier, Tim. I try to do that, and I keep people's cards. And I mean, to this day, that's how some of my clients come, is because, oh, you helped me find, a plumber back in the day. I'm like, oh, okay. And plus I tend to use the people that I refer as well, because that's the best referral you can give.
It's amazing too, when you give out a lot of referrals, not saying like when you need a favor, but when you need really great service, guess who usually gives you the best service? The people that you've given 4 or 5 pieces of business to.
Yeah.
Like they want to take good care of you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things Lonnie was saying, he gave the example of like, now he's a database person and he makes those connections. But at the beginning of his career, it was open houses. Maybe his database wasn't as big back then, or that, that was like a quick, easy grab to build business or to make contacts. That what you do evolves over time. And one of the messages that I've always heard when it comes to lead gen is you get a 10% return on your database. So if for every 100 people you have in your database, you can expect to do about 10 pieces of business, but that not just for having them in the database, that's connecting them with service providers, that's touching them at least once a quarter with a phone call, some text messages, a birthday, a happy anniversary, right? That's connecting with your database regularly. Some would say the 36 touch program, if you're not touching them at least 36 times throughout the year, with a pop by, maybe a holiday card, a birthday card, or, some item of value, just having them in your database doesn't do any good. You actually have to communicate with them. Well, I saw some of you guys I know are on the Shift Facebook group. James Shaw started that Shift Facebook. But did you see that that he had quoted Gary on there that for every 100 people you should be doing 17 pieces of business? Did you see that yesterday? And his point was this, and I listened to James on it. I thought this was awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, yes, it makes sense. And yet I wonder how many of us actually do it. Is the asking for a referral. In Bold, there was a strategy that they used called the promise. And it was basically like a little promissory letter that you gave to your clients when you get into business with them, that I promise to give you a legendary experience, a red carpet experience in your buying or selling transaction. And if I deliver on that promise, will you promise to connect me with one piece of business? Will you promise to give me one referral, in the next 30 days, in the next 45 days? And most people were saying yes. Very few were like, no, I'm not going to refer you. Yeah. If you give me a legendary experience, I will definitely refer you a piece of business. And James Shaw's point was, we don't even ask for it usually. The agents that don't have very many reviews on Google or Facebook or Zillow, you want to know why? It's not because they're bad agents. It's because they don't even ask for a review. And yet the agents that do ask for a review, the people are more than happy to provide that review for them. And that comes down to our systems and our models. I feel like I may not help very many clients, but the clients that I do, I think would be raving fans. And I look back at the reviews that I have online and I'm like, why didn't I ask that person to give me a review? We crushed it for them. Why? And I just didn't, because at the time it wasn't a part of my system. Now I'm starting to get some more reviews online, and I do think reviews are wildly important, and I think they're going to matter hugely moving forward. So if you're not asking for reviews, please incorporate that into your business system. But Gary talking about every 100 pieces of business, now we should expect 17 if we're doing it right, is because I'm probably going to get 10 pieces of business from either somebody in my database is actually buying or selling, or they give me a referral. Either way, now I'm in a transaction with them. So let's say I'm listing their house and then they're going to buy another one. That's 2 pieces of business. But if I have that listing, I should be picking up another listing in the area or picking up a buyer from an open house, right? Like I should get something. I should have a touch in whether I send out a just sold or a recently listed postcard, or I send out a mailer of some sort, I should be picking up some ancillary business off of the business that I'm doing, if I'm doing my marketing and my lead gen effectively. And that was his point, was don't just rely on your database. You should be growing your database. Lonnie talks about this almost every time he talks about database. And what I mean by that is, are there people that are in my database that are also in Tony Darty's database? Yep, there sure is. We know a few of them, don't we, Tony? Like, are there people in my database that I think like, oh, they're mine, but really they're Paul's? Because Paul's got them in there. We just don't know they're in each other's database. And then Lonnie shared 4 or 5 experiences that I can think of off the top of my head where he had a VIP in his database. Well, guess what? She quit her job and now she's a real estate agent. And she's in Lonnie's downline, but no longer going to use him as an agent, right? So sometimes our databases, people fall out of our database because their daughter gets their real estate license, or they move out of the country, and so now they're not going to conduct business with us. So even though you may have a really well-oiled database, we still need to be adding to it, because there is going to be a rate of attrition and people are going to fall out of our database. Somebody said, how or where do I send clients to do a review? There's a bunch of different places. If you don't have a Google business page, Paul has done a great class more than once on setting up your Google business page. I think Google is a wonderful place to send people to do a review. Even though sometimes Zillow's a 4-letter word around KW spheres, people still use Zillow all the time. I have people sending me, a house that they found on Zillow. So I know that the more reviews I have on Zillow, the more visible my profile is. So I would say 100% send people to Zillow to do a review. If you haven't set up your agent profile, set up your agent profile on Zillow, on realtor.com, set up your business page on Google. Realtor.com. I know a lot of stuff is still happening through Realtor.com. So make sure you got a profile there. Send people there to do a review as well. I know a few of you guys are exceptional. You have a high level of visibility. Paul, your team, especially on Facebook, posting videos and posting what you're doing on Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook business page, set up a Facebook business profile and definitely send people there for reviews as well, just because they're very easy to do. So great question. And now I know there's a follow-up question there. How do I do all that? I don't know. But Paul does. So Paul do another class.
Tim, can I share a little something real quick?
You please.
I know we're about out of time. So yesterday I was listening to several, the One Thing podcast. If you haven't listened to those, you're missing out. And it was one from a month ago, and they were talking about kind of a mid-year reset if we haven't achieved our goals, or maybe if you have and you just want to focus. So I was playing with that, and reset is an acronym. I can't remember what it stands for off the top of my head right now. Reflect, evaluate, the last one's time block. So I talked to ChatGPT because I do that a lot. And I said, can you give me a prompt where you act as a coach and you ask me these questions, the reset questions, to help me reset for the rest of this year? It gave me, I did it twice. I did it 2 different times. And it was just amazing information. And of course, ChatGPT will tell you, good job. And it's very supportive. And by the end of it, I said, I want to teach something about this next week in our tech class. And I said, can you create a QR code and information about this that I can share? So at 10:30ish last night, because I was talking to ChatGPT kind of late, I created that and shared it in the office page. Nobody's commented on it yet. It was late. So if you guys have a minute or 20 minutes today, will you click on that QR code? You have to have ChatGPT on whatever device it is. It'll take you right to that prompt, lead you through a series of thought-provoking questions to help you focus on the rest of the year. And with that one thing mindset. If you guys do that, that'd be awesome. Post some feedback you get from it. And then if you don't have time to do that, come next Thursday at 2. That's what we're going to talk about. So thank you.
I said, no, thank you, Paul. I saw that you posted that on the Southland page. I think it was last night.
Yes.
I saw that come through and I'm anxious to try that. I'm probably one of those like middle-aged people that I'm like, it's Chat GPT. Like I'm the one that they make fun of when they're like, you guys are using this as a basic tool and it's a high level business tool. And you're asking it how to correct spelling on your stupid email. Like that's me. I'm that person. So I definitely need to dive back in. So I appreciate you putting that prompt up there. That helps me learn it. So thank you for that, Paul. That was great.
Thanks. Please let me know if you do it, guys. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Stacy, I see that's you. I'm going to forward you over. I've got an email. I think I actually stole it from the Fin team and then just kind of made it my own, but it's an email that has a link to like 3 different places. And it's just asking the clients to choose one of them and send me a review. And sometimes like at the beginning, it felt awkward for me to do that. I'll be like, hey, if I know they like Starbucks or something, like, hey, I give out a $5 Starbucks gift card for a great 5-star review. And it was worth $5 for me because I had a bunch of Starbucks gift cards and I'm like, I'm sending them out if they would give me a review, but now it's kind of easier for me to ask.
I have a closing Tuesday and the little couple I think would give me a great review, but I don't have any idea how to do that. So
let me forward you this email. And then if you click on the links, you can just sort of change the information to your own. But let me know if you need help setting up any of those. Like Facebook's real easy. If you already have a business profile on there, it's super easy to get reviews from. So I can at least walk you through 2 real quick. And if we need to do a class on that, I'm happy to host it. I'm not a pro at it at all, but I'm happy to host it. Maybe I can ask for some help from some of you guys that are great at getting reviews.
Stacy, if you have a Zillow, they actually have like a page where you go ask for a review and it sends it straight from Zillow. You just put in their email. They kind of have their own little sentence that goes to them, but I always personalize it, like add in their name and a little something, whatever, and send it to them. And then I'll text them going, hey, love the opportunity to partner with you. If you think I gave a 5-star performance, could you go on and let me know? I kind of prepped them for the 5-star part. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I can't figure out if I have an account on Zillow or not, because I have a
It's,
FISBO on there and I can't
It'll
struggling to
show,
navigate it right now.
it has like a profile for you on Zillow.
Yeah, it says I'm signed in, but I can't, yeah, I'll work on it. I
Yeah,
don't know why
go
I'm
to
struggling with
I think it's called the Agent Hub or something on
that.
Zillow.
Okay,
Because that's for
okay.
all the agent. And one thing I've always done is I follow up with an email and I basically just use the standard phrase that, hey, I'm working on growing my business because that's what what's what we're doing. And would you mind giving me a review? I've got, there's Zillow, there's Facebook, there's all these places. Would you mind doing it? And I have not had anybody say, I'm not going to do it. Not
Yeah.
anybody. People, I think if you approach it from, you're trying to grow your business, you're in this business, especially right now when you're just joining
Mhm,
this business. I mean, I think people will rally around you. And I
mhm.
still use it 10 years later. I just say, hey, I'm working on growing my business. I would love a review. So,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just trying, that all makes perfect sense. I just got to figure out Zillow. For whatever reason, are there two different things? Like there's a
no,
special place for agents
go
versus
to
like FISBO?
Zillow.com. No, when you go to Zillow.com, you will see on there, I think it's called an agent hub. Someone correct me if
Yep, Agent Hub.
Agent
yeah.
Hub.
you do have to log in. You have to log in, like, so it's not like you're the shopper looking on Zillow. You have to log in as an agent.
Yeah, I don't see Agent Hub, but I'll keep looking.
Yeah, and once you're logged in like me, I don't think I have to log in. Last time I did it, which was a couple months ago, I did not have to log in because I think I entered it as an agent.
It's at the top. Stacy, go to Zillow.com. It's along the white bar at the top. Agent Hub is towards the right.
If you guys can see my screen, I'm doing it, Stacy, on here.
Yeah, we
It is
can.
not, does not show up on mine.
Okay.
Oh,
I can come help you after this call.
I appreciate it.
You
Thank
might,
you.
yeah, you might not be, yeah, you go to sign in, I think. I can't remember how to do it. But it'll pull it up for you and it's so easy. And like Trisha said,
I
they,
like that.
they'll craft the initial wording and you just send an email, you put in the email address and then you just hit send and you can
Oh,
personalize
easy.
it too. Yeah.
Once you sign in, it says Agent
Yeah.
Hub right up here, and then you just click on it.
There it is.
So like I only have 6 reviews on here, but that, like I said, that's a new thing for me. I have typically in the past not really asked for reviews, but you can on the Agent Hub, you can even like I made a couple of like little promo videos and stuff. You can put your video links on here. This is just kind of getting to know me and what I'm about. So if you were hunting for me, if you were looking for an agent, or if I popped up on Zillow, I'm trying to think. Yeah, if you just click on the reviews.
Request a review up at the top.
Request a review is right up here.
Yep.
All I get is Renter Hub. That's the only hub I see, Renter Hub.
I wonder,
Yeah, I think I must be in the wrong place.
We might, yeah, maybe we just jump in there together and we just set it up because it may not know that you're an agent yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think FISBO, so I think it sees me as a person.
Yeah, because there is a difference. Agents have that
Yeah.
Agent Hub access and the general public doesn't. But it's cool though. You can see it creates, you just put in your client's email address and then you can change the body of the message, but basically it sends them a link to your specific review hub so they can give you a review and it auto populates on your Zillow. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then it sends you an email that says this client has provided you with a review on Zillow, so you know it's out there.
Cool.
Yep, it's pretty cool. I know people don't like it, for real estate, we don't like it, but for,
people go there.
It's like Tim said, everybody still goes there.
You bet.
Yeah.
One more thing I'll let you know about Zillow is see where Tim says promote yourself and all those green check boxes. If you don't have all of those completed, Zillow does not show your profile. So if somebody's searching a realtor in Raymore and you haven't completed all those, yours doesn't show up. So you need to be sure all those are checked.
That's right.
Then Zillow will put your picture and stuff up there as well.
Yep.
So don't miss that.
Good call. That's correct. That's exactly why it's done. So for me, getting 5 or more past clients to review you, I think I only have 5 or maybe 6 now, but that was the big thing for me. I was like, man, I'm invisible. I really am a secret agent. If I'm not visible on Zillow, I got to do whatever I got to do to get these reviews. So I even had to go back and ask people that I did business with like 2 years ago, because I needed some reviews to populate so that I would show up on Zillow. Yeah. But also don't panic over it either, Stacy,
Yeah.
because there's so much, like, it just takes time to learn all this. And like Lonnie said, don't be really, don't like focus on 1 or 2 things and do it really well. Well, once you do those 2 things really well, then start adding to it. I mean, I'm also like 8 years into the business now, and I have 6 reviews on Zillow, right? Like, I mean, so that has not shown to be the most effective use of my personality of how to get business. But I do want people to see me on Zillow. So I kind of did the bare minimum just to sneak in the door there. But that's an area for improvement moving forward. So don't feel like you have to have all of this built out on client number 1, because you just don't. It's just a process. So yeah, so don't feel the pressure there at all. Also, I know most of us, when we're leading a group or something, things sound like, oh man, this person's really got it going on. They're a really high level agent. Like, most of us are running around like our hair's on fire and we're, just barely juggling and keeping everything in the air. So in some areas we might be experts, and in all the others we have 6 reviews and that's it. So yeah, don't panic over that. We'll get it there.
And I think, Stacy, one thing, once you do one of these, like, and spend the time and invest, and it may take you 6 months to create your profile. Who cares? But once you get one of them figured out, then the rest of them are going to come easier for you to create that. And then you're going to learn that language where you're going to be comfortable asking people face to face, and they're going to be like, oh my God, let me give you this guy's name right now. So.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
That's good. That's good, Chris. Okay, well, we're way long, so I'm going to jump off. If anybody wants to stay on and keep chatting, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we ran long, so I'm cutting it off. But I think the Zoom will stay up for a little while, so I'm jumping off of here. Feel free to chit chat or jump off. Thank you guys so much for your input and sharing today. You guys just add a ton of value to this group every stinking time. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, appreciate you all.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, you betcha.